The place that we are in, brothers and sisters, is known as Maqam Sayyidatuna Rabia Al Adawi. Says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am taking an oath on myself that if you free me, I will dedicate my life to you. I will spend my that. So he says, okay, well, I've seen what you've been doing. I look at you praying all night long. You hardly sleep. I don't think that you should be a slave. I'm just going to free you. That's exactly how she understood life. She was, of course, a super Sufi with a true meaning of Sufism. She was focusing on her spirituality. She was focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So this is just the masjid next to the church now, yeah? Let's see this masjid, inshallah.
Rabia Al-Adawiyya. Rabia Al-Adawiyya or Rabia Al Basriya. Rabia Al-Adawiyya or Rabia Al Basriya. The maqam is all the way at the bottom over here. We will be going down some, I'm not gonna say uncomfortable staircase, but try to be a bit careful. The steps are not very comfortable, okay? The steps, they have different heights. However, you do have a railing, you do have a metal bar to the right, you do have a metal bar to the left. So please be careful coming down. Be careful coming down. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Please make your way in. The place is very small relatively, and we want all 50 people to be here, inshallah. So please make your way in. If you want to take a photo, take your photo, and try to clear the place so the others can find their way in. If you are in already, please try to get to the walls. Keep the space at the center open so the others can come and attend. Make some room. We do have some other people who did not make it yet, so please come in. Please come in so the others can join us.
You want to go there?
Yes. Please make some space. Are we all here? Or at least you can hear me. Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa man sara ala darbihi wa ihtada bihadihi ila yawmi an nalqah. Allahumma ameen. The place that we are in, brothers and sisters, is known as Maqam Sayyidatuna Rabia Al Adawiyya. Rabia Al Adawiyya is another name for Rabia Al Basriya. Rabia Al Basriya, from the name, you can already understand that she comes from Basra in Iraq of today. Exactly. So she was born in Basra in Iraq. She was born to a very poor family, actually. Her childhood was not a very good, comfortable, easy life-going childhood, period. Her parents died at a very young age. She had to work on a boat, trying to get people from one bank to the other bank so she can support herself and those who survived with her after her parents passed away. Eventually she was, people at the older days, they used to invade, like tribes invade other tribes. She ended up being enslaved and then sold. And she spent her young days being a servant in a wealthy man's house. So as expected for servants, she was serving in the house, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the house as much as any servant would do. Yet when the other people in the house would go to sleep, she would just rise and start praying and meditating and doing her dua. And day after day, the landlord, her boss, he just started feeling that this girl is different than the others, Everybody works and rests. Everybody works and goes to sleep. Everybody wants to have some time, leisure time, playing and stuff of that sort. But that's not the case with Rabia. Rabia was a whole different type, stereo case. And she would be like praying and praying and praying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance, up to the point that she was talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and addressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all her emotions. And she says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am taking an oath on myself that if you free me, I will dedicate my life to you. I will spend my whole life in prayers and dua and doing good deeds. I want a better life, so please just let that happen. Sorry. Her boss just feels that, she's way much higher spiritually than him himself, than everybody that's around her. And he says, like, this free spirit should not be a slave. This is like a way above that. So he says, okay, well, I've seen what you've been doing. I look at you praying all night long. You hardly sleep. I don't think that you should be a slave. I'm just going to free you. لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ ta'ala. I don't want nothing. So just go live your life. Be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do whatever you want to do. And of course, she starts fulfilling her promise to Allah immediately. So if she was free, then she would spend her life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what she does. She becomes actually a very, very important scholar. She spends her life learning and getting stronger in her iman, in her deeds. And of course, she's known to be, in Arabic, Az-Zuhad. Az-Zuhad. Zahid is like a saint, like she's like the mother of the saints. She totally dedicated her life, not to this life, but to the second life, to the hereafter. So like everybody in our life, as we know life, we all want more. Like if I do have an apartment, why not a house? If I do have a house, why not a mansion? If I do have a car, why not 2 cars? If I have like a wife, Brother Sajid is already smiling, why not? Why not 2 wives? Okay? However, in Rabi'a's case, that was a whole different case. She knew exactly that the hereafter is that the place where she wants to be. So for her, living this life is just like preparing herself for the good thing to come. So everybody will be busy like trying to do things and stuff of that sort, competing, and should be staying in here. You can hardly see if it's like daylight or nighttime, except for that natural light window up there. That's her khalwa right behind you over there. She would be spending her time in prayers, in dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on, knowing that eventually she will die, just like everybody dies. And when she goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that's when really life starts. So actually she was, all her life long, she was like in a status of preparation for the real life to come. That's exactly how she understood life. She was, of course, a super Sufi with a true meaning of Sufism. She was focusing on her spirituality. She was focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And she was, as I mentioned, a true scholar. She spent her life in Jerusalem teaching women of Jerusalem, Quran, Hadith, Tajweed, and all the Shari'i studies and teachings that she knew, she was teaching them. And of course, she became very, very famous. And therefore, many people, of course, wanted to get married to her because she's like very strong spiritually. And many people came and asked for her hand, including another very famous Basri alim, Al-Hasan al-Basri. So Al-Hasan al-Basri comes over here and he asks for Rabi'a's hand. And then Rabia says, well, I'm sorry, I'm already taken, And he says, like, what do you mean you're taken? We know that you are single, and I'm a Hasan al-Basri, like, I want to get married to you. And she says, I do not really have a space for you in my heart. I'm so sorry. I don't think that I will be a good wife for you. I don't think that I will be a good mother for your children. I just want to spend my life pursuing and seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's all what I want. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have children. Of course, that's not an advice for you not to get married. Married is sunnah, so please get married and have children. But that is what she understood, and that's what she wanted to have in her life. If you read Rabi'a's poetry, and she was a writer, she was a poet. If you read Rabi'a's poetry, in the beginning, you will feel like those are some of the most beautiful love letters that anybody can write. Okay? Now she was addressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if she was addressing her lover. Okay? That's what I meant when you read her poetry, like, oh my love, and so, and you're like, Midhat just told us in Jerusalem that she was like so biased and stuff like that, and now you're talking about love and being with you and stuff of that sort. So actually she was addressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was not a man that she was addressing. She had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in her heart. And that's why one of her poems goes like in Arabic, أَلَا لَيْتَ الَّذِي بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكَ عَامِرٌ وَمَا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ الْعَالَمِينَ خَرَابُ إن صح الود منك فالكل هين فكل الذي فوق التراب تراب. She says in English, like, I wish and I hope and pray for that the relationship between me and you is acceptable, is fit, is good, because that's technically all what I care about. I do not care about the others, period. I'm not seeking their admiration. I'm not seeking them flattering me and none of that. I do not really care for that, because after all, I know that anything and everything that's above dust is eventually dust. Okay? That's exactly how she saw things. Like all of us in 100 years, more or less, I don't think that any of us will be here. We'll all be history, our cars, our houses, the wealth that we collected, the tours that we did, everything will be history. But for her, that's like a credit that she's already keeping and preparing for her meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any question? And again, as Brother Abdul Aziz mentioned, we do not believe that she's buried in here. She was buried back in Basra. They do have a tomb for her in Basra. But again, that takes us back to the definition of Maqam and tomb. Okay? Maqam is a place of remembrance. It's like a place to remember that person, not necessarily a place where she was buried.
मुस्तफा के जैसा किसी का मकाम थोड़ी है मैं मानता हूँ काबिले एहतराम है बहुत सी हस्तियाँ
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm now going to end this video. I hope this was a beneficial video to you. I'm actually sitting in the Khalwa, the place where Rabia Al Basri used to pray. And I'm so blessed to be here. The sense of spirituality in this place is intense. Not many of us hear about friends of Allah who are female. Rabia Al Basri is a waliya. She is a friend of Allah. And as the tour guide mentioned, this is not her burial place, but this is the Maqam, and this is the Halwa where she used to sit and pray. One of the sisters just informed me that she has read over 100,000 Qur'ans. Allah knows best. These are the type of role models we need to have in our lives, and these are the type of people we need to read about and study about. Definitely share this video and information with your family and your friends. Jazakallah khair for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
मगर मुस्तफा के जैसा किसी का एहतराम थोड़ी है लाखों सलाम लाखों सलाम